out there, all. Welcome to another installment of the Adventures of Crunur. Last time we did this, Crunur was set up by Gundren Rockseeker with a job to take a wagon of supplies to the town of Phandalin, where he was starting what appears to be some sort of mining operation. Crunur accepted the job and began his journey with the wagon the following morning, coming across some sturges in a I don't know what you call a pack of them or a group of them, but he battled with them, fell once to the sturges, and found himself respawning at the campsite he had made. Then he faced the sturges again, this time making it through, only to find an ogre not too far down the road. My memory serves, I believe Crunur fell to the ogre twice before finally succeeding, making it to yet again another camp. So with all of that, I went ahead and leveled Crunur up to level 2. So I thought I'd give you a little peek at his character sheet. So we advanced further into the barbarian class with this one, and our let's see here, what else did we get? I believe at this point we get reckless attack, yep, which we can utilize, and that's just about it. But still getting stronger, which is always fun. So, without much further ado, Crunur is walking down the Triboar Trail, which is heading away from the coastline that the main path had been following down, heading south out of Neverwinter. After about half a day, that time being spent trying to wrap his head around what's been happening, he's very certain he had died. More than once at this point. But yet he is still here. Perhaps something is interfering? Who knows? As Crunur mulls over his situation, he looks up to see two dead horses in the path. Brings the wagon to a slow and hops off, deciding to take a closer look around the bend where these horses are sprawled out. The woods press close to the trail here, and there's a steep embankment with dense thickets on either side, creating almost a small canyon. Crunur is going to investigate, or actually he's going to do an insight check. No, investigate these first. Whoa. Yeah, we'll make it an investigation. Alright, Crunur does not do very well on that. So he will head down in for a closer look. And as he approaches the horses, a couple of goblins pop out of the bushes on either side of the horses. we will roll for initiative. All right. Now, the goblins had managed to stay hidden from Crunur, so there will be a surprise round for them. Let's see how our adventurer fares. Let's change that. Settings. Another sort of. Alright. So. Let's get a goblins in combat. Oh me, oh my. Alright, so these two goblins are going to. Nope, okay, do that right. Do. Run up towards Crunur and take some swipes with some wicked curved little blades in their hands. They have for the surprise round. One of them is going to crit, and the other one will also find a way to get through Crunur's somewhat thicker hide. So let's find out how much damage we are looking at here. 12 from the crit, 6 from that, so 18 overall. Crunur reels as more than half of his health disappears. That will bring us to the top of the order. Crunur is going to expend a rage at this point. Rage, rage, rage. He grinds his teeth, and the sounds of rocks cracking as he pops his bones and flexes. He then grabs his great axe and swings at the goblin above him. He will cleave that goblin straight through the waist, the great axe sliding through without any real effort needed. That will bring us to this goblin. This goblin is going to go ahead and take another swing in Crunur's direction with that wicked blade, but Crunur bats the blade aside with his offhand. At this point, another goblin is going to pop up out of the bushes. And roll into order. Next round, Crunur will turn his axe on to the goblin down on the same level as him and swing, breaking through their armor and cleaving them from shoulder to hip, dropping yet another. The new goblin will go ahead and fire off with an arrow. That is going to be a critical miss. Let's see how bad it goes. In fact, the arrow is going to sail past Crunur and somehow find a way to break the stealth and strike his fellow goblin, who will take 4 points of damage as the arrow buries itself into his head, leaving him looking very worse for wear. So we'll roll that goblin to go over now. That goblin must perish. That will bring us to Crunur. Crunur looks in both directions and uses his free action to change from his greatsword to a hand axe, which he will chuck at the bloodied goblin. Ooh, that's gonna be a crit miss. A 1 for Crunur. Alright, let's see how bad it goes. Not terribly bad. The axe sails past the goblin and disappears into the thickets. Crunur has essentially lost a hand axe. The goblin over there will knock another arrow and fire. That will bounce off of Crunur's stony-like hide. This goblin will also try and hit Crunur with an arrow. That will almost get through, but the tip of the arrow breaks at the last second. Crunur will growl in frustration and run up the hill, bowling his way through the thicket with very little resistance, and swinging his great axe once more, to no avail as the goblin ducks and dives aside. The goblin will change its short bow out for a scimitar and swing at Crunur. This will catch him in a softer part, dealing 2 points of damage. The goblin will use his nimble escape bonus action to disengage from Crunur and move away from him. This goblin over here will sight down a new arrow and fire it at Crunur, but it will only strike a tree. Crunur will chase the goblin that ran from him, swinging the great axe from behind. This will strike the goblin in the spine, burying itself deep, deep in there. And the goblin will perish with a gurgle and a growl and a shriek of pain. That leaves just the final goblin, who will take one final... Actually, you know what? Scratch that. He is going to shriek in terror and dash off into the woods. Then attempt to use his bonus action to hide. He is not successful as he ducks behind a tree and cracks several twigs that lay upon the ground. Crunur will scream in his rage and fly towards a last goblin, chasing it down with a dash. Okay, the goblin cannot outrun Crunur. Eventually he will catch up and cleave into it, burying his axe into the back of its skull and dropping it before it can get anywhere. Crunur huffs and puffs and drops and breathes deeply as he heads back to the horses to inspect them. He drags the final goblin corpse along with him. The rain continues to pelt down, obscuring some of what happened, mixing the horse blood in with the mud and pooling all around in several ways. It looks as if this is a recent thing that occurred, not something that happened long ago, as when Gundren and Sildar, his bodyguard, would have headed out, but perhaps recently this morning. And as Crunur looks even deeper, he can see that indeed it looks as if they were dragged off, and the contents of a map container was taken. Let's see how Crunur feels. Crunur feels as if it would be prudent to check on the well-being of the man who hired him, in the case that perhaps there is not a payment set aside, which that payment will help him survive long enough to find his tribe once more, until he finds himself in need of it. You follows the track that the goblins took, first inspecting their bodies and finding nothing of real interest. He picks up their shoddy weapons and throws them into the wagon, which he pulls off into a thicket, feeds and waters the oxen, and then heads off down the trail, easily avoiding a couple of somewhat decently hidden yet shoddy workmanship traps that it looks as if were hastily constructed. Eventually, Crunur finds his way to the mouth of the cave. Having followed the trail that the goblins had left, that include drag marks as if they were carrying something heavy, akin to the size of a body, Crunur comes across a large cave in a hillside 5 miles from the scene of the ambush. A shallow stream flows from the cave's mouth, which is screened by dense briar thickets. A narrow, dry path leads into the cave on the right-hand side of the stream. Crunur takes a second to hunker down and observe the area. First things first, let's see how quiet his approach is. Fairly quiet indeed. Now Crunur will take a look at the situation up ahead, and he notices that just over here, across the stream, into the thicket, there are these boards laid down, probably to create some sort of lookout. And if whoever has taken this cave is smart, that area is occupied. But given that there is not any current alarm going out or anything attempting to attack him, he assumes that he has been unnoticed to this point. And so he will creep. Oh, hang on. Roll 20 glitch, gotta reload. Woot woot. And we're back. Alright, let me get the sheet back open. Boo, boo, boo. That. Okay, here we go. So, Crunur will go ahead and sneak up along the side of the stream and take a look. It's kind of going to be in these bushes over here. And he will look to where those boards are creating that opening and see two goblins kind of relaxing. Crunur forgot to go and locate his handler, so he only has the one moment. Crunur is going to reach deep into his bag and pull out a sickle from his long ago farming days with his tribe. It is a simple tool, really, but in the hands of someone that knows what they're doing, could be dangerous. Putting his other hand axe in that the opposite hand, he will work his way over the river, not the stream, not needing to enter it at all, stepping across softly, rolling his feet from heel to toe as he learned to hunt, stalking right up behind the two goblins. Rage is ended, but because he has managed to stealth his way over here, Crunur will gain advantage. He's going to swing with the hand axe at one goblin and the sickle at the other. Both will land. The sickle actually severing clean through the one goblin's neck, immediately silencing them forever. The hand axe buries into the other goblin's shoulder, who shrieks and in pain. We will roll initiative once more. Alright. Okay. Crunur gets to go first. He will swing once more with the hand axe at this goblin. A 14 will not do it. So he will try with the sickle in his offhand, which the goblin will also be able to defend against. The goblin will turn and attempt to strike at Crunur with a wicked little curved sword in hand. But Crunur will bat it aside, making an X out of his sickle and hand axe. We are back around to Crunur, who will swing once more with the hand axe, this one landing and finally bringing the goblin down. Crunur will turn quickly to see if anyone else is coming, making a check. Does not seem to think as if there are more enemies about. Not good guards, he mumbles to himself. He picks up their shoddy weapons and stores them in his pack for later. Crunur decides to move the goblin bodies off into the thicket, hiding, and settle down in the thicket to observe the cave for a while and take a short rest. As he does so, he will be sharpening his axe and other weapons. Looking to see if he can catch any comings and goings from the caves. Right, his passive perception is 15. He can hear just inside, not too far, the sounds of growls and barking, snapping. It seems as if there may be some sort of dog, or more than one, somewhere within this cave. Crunur will take a short rest. We're going to go ahead and roll his hit dice. That's going to get him back up to 23 hit points. Then, after this rest, Crunur rises from a seated position, not having seen much in the hour that he sat here, sharpened some weapons, snapped on a rack, and settled again. Three more health. He will go ahead and attempt once more. Use his knowledge. Stealth this time not nearly as effectively as he stumbles and sloshes through, and a howl rises up. Let's see. Good perception. All right. Well, it seems as if some have been alerted, so we're going to go ahead and roll into initiative order. We'll be doing this combat in groups, given how many are involved. So, let's see how this goes. Boo doo doo doo. Oh no, it might get hairy. Probably gonna get a little hairy. Yay. And let's layer in a little bit of suspense. What do we got? What do we got? Alright. So, Crunur is not going first, but from deep inside the cave, you can hear someone barking orders. You can't quite make them out, and then the scrambling of feet. Sounds like a few sets of feet. Crunur will move to the mouth of the cave. Stepping just inside, you can see a small cave off to his right with some rough-hewn stone steps, wolves chained to the floor. They do not appear to be able to get farther than the edge of the steps. So Crunur makes note of it, and then stands with his legs shoulder-width apart, hefting the great axe. As he sees a goblin heading up and around the side, the wolves will all come to the maximum amount allowed by the chains, attempting to get at Crunur, but not able to. Right the goblins who are going to. One will rush there, another will rush here. This one will come around the corner, and this one will be here. Alright. Two goblins come up at Crunur, and one will swing with a scimitar that is not going to hit. The other one is going to attempt to fumble with the wolf's collar, trying to release the chains. Let's see if he can do it. He cannot. He fumbles and drops the key. Crunur will go ahead and swing at the goblin that swung at him with the great axe, coming just shy of hitting. The wolves strain against their chains, howling and bailing in protest, gnashing their teeth and snarling, attempting to break free. The goblins, one will swing at Crunur. That's not gonna Crunur bats that one aside. The other goblin manages to find the key and release one of the wolves, while the other two goblins knock arrows and fire them off, both striking Crunur for a total of 10 damage. Crunur will go ahead and rage, hefting his battle axe, swing one more, great axe, swing once more, this time successfully hitting the goblin that is taking strikes at him and cleaving it apart. His blade slides through, and we get to make use of his mastery here. Make a melee attack roll to then swing at the next one in line. So, swing, subtract 4 from that. So they will take 5. Looking very much worse for wear as Crunur shaves out a big chunk with his axe and roars with a battle delight in that stone-type speech of the giants. The wolf that is free will move its way over to where the goblin corpse was, stepping on top of it to take a bite at Crunur, thanks to pack tactics and so at advantage, and will manage to get a grip into his shin, dealing 3 points of damage and forcing Crunur to make a strength check against falling from. Being raged, Crunur gets advantage, and he will stand his ground, gutturally growling through the pain of the teeth sinking into his thick hide. The goblins, this one will attempt to use his bonus action to disengage from Crunur. Come around here and attempt to free another wolf, dropping the key once more into a pile of refuse on the ground. Oops, that's not all for the goblins. The two back here will go ahead and fire off arrows once more. Both of them will clatter uselessly to the ground. Crunur will turn his axe upon the wolf, bit into his legs, striking downward, dealing a hefty blow that makes the wolf yelp in pain, leaving a deep, deep gash right on the backside of his neck. The wolf will get to fight back at Crunur, this time without the advantage of pack tactics, but will still manage to land its teeth close to where it did previously, really tearing into that front leg that Crunur uses to lean into his strikes. Crunur will take 2 points of damage. Once again, a strength. Strength. Alright. He is still able to keep his feet. He once more growls his way through the pain. The goblins in the distance knock 4 arrows firing from their bows. One of them will miss. Let's see how bad it goes. That arrow will strike the wolf in the back of the neck, right in the gash, killing it. Will bring us to Crunur, who is going to move here and slip into this cave, where he will swing at one of the chained wolves. That will hit and deal a large blow to that wolf, which he will then activate the leave ability to swing at another, the other wolf, also hitting for enough to kill the second wolf, which falls to the axe as it beheads the wolf with wings. That will bring us to this wolf, who does get pack tactics. The goblin is right there, so it will try and sink its teeth into the other of Crunur's leg. Crunur will shake it away. The goblin panics and, seeing nowhere to get through, will draw its sword and swing, managing to catch Crunur's guard off and doing 2 points of damage. Crunur is looking weak, but roars in defiance, swinging at first the wolf. This will bounce off of the rocks, doing nothing to the wolf, who will then return the favor and bite at Crunur, but will not break through his rock-like hide. The goblins, this one will be here. Attempt to strike out with a. This is going to manage to just barely get through Crunur's armor, dealing 3 points of damage. The other goblin on the other side will also take a swing with his sword, not being able to break through Crunur's defense. Crunur will strike at the goblin that just arrived and managed to hit him, and immediately sever him right down the middle, leaving 2 half-goblins. He will then use his cleave on the wolf, swinging, hitting, and dropping the wolf as well with a backhand slide from the great axe. That will wrap up Crunur's turn. There are no more wolves, so we'll drop them out. The goblin next to Crunur, still very much in a panic, stabs out. Let's see how poorly this ends. Crunur will slap the blade right out of his hand, dropping it to the floor. This goblin is going to retreat down this way. Crunur will turn his attention to the goblin. Swing. Oh, just absolutely destroying this goblin, shredding it in several different places. He will then move deep into the cave, deeper into the cave, going in the directions that the goblins came from. Up ahead, there's a small slope. From around the corner, he can hear the sounds of other goblins communicating in hushed tones. More goblins are going to come out onto the bridge and gun arrows and shoot. They don't have shots in there to dash this way. Crunur hears their little feet scampering across the bridge along the stones. Crunur will come and settle right here. Stabilize. He's going to take a bonus action to extend rage. Yep, he's just going to see how this goes. Okay. That is going to be his turn. He will ready an action to strike at the first thing he sees, which just so happens to be a goblin down the passageway. The goblin is able to fend off Crunur's strike and will take one of his own, which is going to find its way through this rock. Crunur dropped high armor for 4 points of damage. Crunur grits his teeth, activating his reaction. stone's endurance. So what would be 12 plus? So Crunur will reduce that damage. Take of it. Gritting his teeth, he kind of flexes his muscles harder, causing the rock-like skin that is formed when he rages to push the sword from within his body and back out. Another goblin will run down and take a strike. The final goblin will get stuck in the hallway. This goblin swings and misses. That will bring us to Crunur, who is going to swing at the one that almost, or would have been hit, had he not activated his stone's endurance, cleaving deep into this one's stomach and ripping out most of his innards as he drops his axe again for the backhand swing at the other goblin within range of the cleave, and doing very much the same, leaving both of them dead upon the floor. Crunur roars in triumph. The final goblin steps over another goblin steps over the corpse of his compatriot and takes a swing with the little sword that Crunur bats aside. Crunur will swing at that goblin and absolutely eviscerate him with ease. Charging around the corner, he will enter a room that looks as if several goblins had been staying, where two have bows drawn, one at the top of a step, the other at the far side of the room, aimed towards the entry point, and one sits upon a cliff right next to Sildar Hallwinter, who has been bound and gagged and thoroughly beaten. Well, look at you, big man, charging in here, crushing skulls. Quite impressive. Quite impressive. Says the goblin, kind of sitting next to Sildar, his feet hanging over the cliff, a dagger toying in one hand, the other hand very clearly on Sildar's shoulder. The threat and implication quite clear. Let's see if in his rage state, Crunur chooses to be diplomatic. I'm going to make an insight check at disadvantage. Say the DC was 10. So Crunur will relax his grip upon his great axe, using his bonus action to keep his rage active, but hesitantly wary. Will look at the goblin who spoke and say, well, I was attacked first by several of yours on the road, so I have come here to ensure that does not happen again. Plus, it seems that you have someone I know. See, I thought that might be the case. Now, look. We could do the whole battle thing, right? You know, you take on my guys and me. Yeah, you're big. You got that great big axe. I'm not dissuading that at all. You know, I'm not taking that away from you. But, honestly, do you really think in the shape you're in, you're going to be able to win this thing? I've done better with worse odds. Oh, I'm absolutely sure you have. I am. But, based on how you look, it seems like you came here all by yourself. Your point? Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of, working around the bush here. Let's start over. Hi there. My name's Yenik. I represent a certain faction of goblins here. My two compatriots included, and several of our other compatriots who are currently out on
patrol, if you would. You know, uh, have a proposition that, maybe you'll be perfectly suited for. Maybe not, but maybe, just maybe, this will tickle a little fancy. See, we've been working for, let's say, a boss, right? And things were all right. We were doing okay. We were getting a little bit. They were getting what they wanted. It wasn't so bad, at least until he put a big hairy bugbear in charge. Now I don't know how much you know, but goblins and bugbears kind of have some complicated history. I particularly despise them. The matted fur, the gross smells, just the whole demeanor, it irritates me. Now, I'm not exactly an average goblin. I mean, obviously, I put together this whole scheme here, right? I kind of got your hands tied a little bit, because, you could start fighting us, but if you do that, I'm definitely going to kill you. That's just a given, right? Like, that's obvious. I don't even need to say it. I can see that you understand. So here's what I'm thinking, right? Now, I can't just go straight up to the bugbear and say, hey, Clark, I'm gonna challenge you for leadership of the gang. Because he's gonna beat me to the punch. On the other hand, you might be a solid match. So here's my proposal for you. All right, big fella, are you listening?
Yes, although it's becoming an irritation.
Yes, I totally get it. I get it. All right. So hear me out. Here's what I'm thinking. You kill Clark, right? You go up there and you beat him to stomp with your great big axe. And then I'll give you your buddy here, right? And I will instruct the rest of the goblins to leave you alone. And we're gonna disassociate from who we've been working for this whole time. And go find ourselves to kind of settle into our goblin-y ways. I mean, maybe we'll stay here. It's not a bad location.
You will not stay here. You stay here, I will come back.
Alright, fair enough, big guy. Okay, we definitely don't need that. So, good news is, based on how much screaming I heard going out there, Clark's probably only got about 3 guys left. And of course, Ritter is favorable, right? But it's really Clark himself you gotta worry about. Them bugbears can hit pretty hard. So, yeah, great. Sounds like we got a deal. Now, I see that you're in bad shape, so I'm gonna give you, till tomorrow night. If you don't come through on this fight tomorrow night, I'm gonna kill the half or the human. Yeah, I'm gonna kill him.
Sildar's eyes go wide. Crunur ponders for a moment and then nods his head. Very well, evening. But if you break our deal, I will crush your skull with my hands.
Well, that certainly sounds like an outcome that I definitely want to avoid, and probably you, because you don't goblin brain matter on that. It just sounds gross. Anyway, good thing I'm in charge of who gets to watch the front, so I'll tell you what, big fella, you go on and you set up camp wherever you want to set up camp, and I will let the boys to not bother you for the rest of the night.
Crunur points to the back of the cave, and Ymit goes,
Well, obviously I can't just stay here, right? Because what's the stop from killing us all?
very little.
Exactly. So, I'm gonna need you to go out of the cave just for everyone's sanity. But you just head off into the woods a little ways. Maybe a nice outcropping along this cliff wall here. There's plenty of little caves and whatnot. You settle down, you get yourself back up to good fighting shape, and then you come on back. I'm a reasonable fella, all right? I give you the night, and most of tomorrow, you just gotta. That's all you gotta do. It's real simple, okay? You can do that, right? Can't you?
Yes. With that, Crunur will head out of the cave, set up a camp, not far from the mouth of the cave, but out of line of sight of the thickets kind of settling down there. He's not going to light a fire or cook. He will subsist on rations, filling up his water skin in the stream upstream from where all the bodies are. We'll go ahead and keep a watch for the first few hours, as is his custom. And true to his word, Enoch seems to have informed the others to not disturb the large man in the woods, if they are aware at all of his presence. So Crunur spends the night sleeping amongst the thickets, preparing himself to fight Clar in the morning. Rising from his slumber, in which he dreamed of the obscured figure that he's seen several times, but can't get any detailing on. It's vexing. He tossed and turned for some of the night before getting into that deep, good REM.
Yo, bring it on, Fort Grego. What up?
Good to see you. Welcome in. Crunur rises, shaking his head, clearing it of the new remnants of the nightmare, and then marches into the cave, right up, not even bothering to stop where Enoch was, to the top of the cave, where a goblin spots him and goes running up another staircase, and begins to shriek something. And several moments later, a bugbear will saunter down, a massive morning star hoisted upon one shoulder, and a wolf that stands a little bigger than the rest sauntering at his waist. He looks up and goes,
So you're the one, huh? You killed all my boys. Yeah, you thought you come here, you take on Clog? You think it's gonna be that easy, do you?
Crunur looks down at the bugbear, who does stand a good 7-ish feet tall, but Crunur still towers 2 feet above him and outweighs him by a good amount. As they eye each other up, goblins filter into positions where they could be advantageous for their boss. And the bugbear looks at Crunur and goes,
What are you gonna do, big fella? Huh? What's it gonna be? You gonna take me on right here, right now?
Yes, this is what I will do. Safe friend, but first, you tell me where you sent the dwarf. Crunur mutters in his deep guttural tones.
The dwarf? Oh, the dwarf's not here. He's long gone. Tell you what, though. You beat me. I'll tell you where that dwarf's at. I'll tell you who's got him. That'll help you any. So come on, square up.
As you wish, third one. Crunur will roll Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-da. All right. We boss battle music. Yes, we do. Boss battle music. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Oh, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna go track something down. Do 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 do. Gotta love it when you gotta find the right sound. It'll be here soon. Just hang right along. Yeah, da, 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 da. It's like bad elevator music. Enjoy it. Woo! All right, let's see here. Where are we? Feel like there was this 8-bitty kind of old video gamey sounding one that I've used in a couple different ones. Just can't remember which one of these. Oh, there it is. Found it. Woot. Alrighty, here we go. Clark gets to kick things off. He will roar and rush forward, swinging his massive Morning Star in Crunur's direction. No surprise. So, that's gonna bounce off Crunur's wrist as he brings it up and redirects the Morning Star strike. Crunur is going to rage right off the bat here. Point. If you know what, to ensure this goes well, he's going to go ahead and reckless attack against Clark, swinging the Great Axe. But that's not going to get through the thick hide armor that Clark wears. The goblins are going to knock arrows and fire. Two of them will strike Crunur, dealing a total of 4 damage. The Wolf Ripper will run up and fight at Crunur. Tactics plus reckless attack was used, biting into the back of his thigh for 3 points of damage. Crunur keeps his feet. Clark once more reels back with the big Morning Star, bringing it down. It kind of whooshes through the air, the large spikes catching wind. This time it will clamber into Crunur's shoulder for good amount of damage. 11 divided by 2. Yeah, that'll come out to 5 points of damage for Crunur. And Clark will laugh.
Yeah, you got rock hide, but come on, my spikes will get through it.
And we will see how long your luck runs out. Crunur will swing his big axe back in Clark's direction recklessly once more, this time hitting successfully for 14 points of damage on Clark, who will reel in surprise Crunur will then go ahead and swing his axe at Ripper, dropping the wolf in a single blow, burying the axe into its skull. Clark cries out,
No, not Ripper! You killed my dog! I'll get you! Oh, I'm gonna get you good!
The goblins will fire off another round of arrows. Crunur did attack recklessly, so the goblins have advantage. Two of them are going to hit, one of them critically, burying the arrow deep just above Crunur's heart. That will do a total of 4 damage between the two arrows that hit. Ripper is dead. That will bring us to Clark. Clark is going to swing around in a frenzy at Crunur. Wildly flailing, Crunur will easily shove it aside with the haft of his great axe and use the advantageous position he gains to swing at Clark, burying the axe deep into his neck and dropping down. Clark drops to a knee, gasping. Crunur leaves him there, Clarking, pulling the axe out and letting Clark slowly bleed out as he heads towards the goblins. The goblins will swing at Crunur, who is now between them and the best route out of here. They will manage to hit. That will be 4 and 3. That's going to be 7 points of damage. Crunur, who is looking a little beaten up at this point. You know what? On that crit, Crunur's going to use his Stone's Endurance to reduce the damage. Alright. He will take the 4 middle one. Clark is essentially incapacitated at the moment. That brings to Crunur, who is going to swing with his great axe, smashing it into one of the goblins and dropping them, and then turning around and swinging it backhanded at another and taking that goblin as well. Well, let's go ahead and see how terrified the final goblin is. How much does he want to live? Quite a bit. So he's going to jump into the water and just kind of let it down and around that combat. Be where we leave this chapter of Crunur's story. He successfully felled a bugbear and a good amount of goblins. So we'll have to see how much XP he's earned, and maybe he's leveled up once more. Thank you so much, fellow adventurers, for joining me on this ride. I certainly hope you enjoyed it, and we will hope to see you next week on the Adventures of Crunur. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful week. And always keep looking for your next adventure. So long.